Wrestling Rep on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and MP. As always, I'm Grady, and live on Skype we got Josh.
Hey!
Might as well kick off, I guess, with the biggest thing. You know, we got Raw and we got SmackDown to talk about, but we did get the WrestleMania 40 kickoff / press conference kind of show. That was juicy, to say the least.
/ Will Smith look-alike acting like slap-a-thon. Oh, jeez. That was a fun... You know what? That was a fun event to watch. They played it off so well, and everything that we've been saying where it was like, they're playing these fans for chumps the entire time. It's like, they're wanting you to be upset. And they're still going through with Cody versus Roman, which I'm fine with. If it ends, it ends. But I think they've thrown in a major wrinkle here with The Rock, especially a potential heel Rock.
Potential.
Rock. Well, there is a theory out there, and I'm not talking about Austin theory. That maybe The Rock is working on the inside out for Cody.
Okay.
Remember, Cody said before this whole thing went down that he wanted to take everything from Reigns, starting with his family. What if he cut a deal with The Rock? And The Rock is the reason why Reigns loses at WrestleMania. And that sets up Rock versus Reigns later in the year. Maybe at SummerSlam, which was always more of The Rock's event anyway.
Yeah, I think there's so many options to go with for this. You know, how Seth Rollins versus The Rock also feels set up here. You know, I feel like you've got Cody Rock, Seth Rock, Roman and Rock, friends for now, could turn against each other at any point. It's all over the place.
They showed the bloodline. They showed the bloodline family tree. Mm-hmm. Right? Very interesting that it just says Roman Reigns on Roman Reigns, but it says the High Chief, The Rock.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing as well to point out is that the whole, like, everything afterwards, it was always Roman following The Rock, right? You know, they go backstage, they're screaming at Triple H or whatever. The Rock is leading the charge, and Roman looks like almost like the little brother, like following behind his big brother, just letting him handle business.
Yeah. This is going to be fun. This is going to be pure fun. We're in, I think, the 6th inning now of the storyline.
How many innings in a game? Remind me.
9.
Okay, cool.
The 9th inning is when Reigns finally gets accepted as a face.
Gotcha.
That's how the bloodline will end. It is when Roman is finally accepted as a good guy. Until then, we've still got a bit of ways to go, but we're getting there. And yeah, I just enjoyed the whole event. The only problem I really have is it makes Seth Rollins look like a chump. This whole thing makes him look like a lesser not as important, which, of course, it's not the WWE Championship, but of course it's not going to be as important, but still, it just makes it feel like it's like a third-rate championship.
Yeah, it definitely placed him on, like, second fiddle, for sure.
Yeah, because he's having to beg for an opponent. And so we got an Elimination Chamber qualifier that's which I love. I always love when they do qualifiers for the chamber instead of just announcing 6 people. It feels more earned that way. But yeah, it should be fun to watch as we get to WrestleMania. We're officially on the road to WrestleMania.
Yeah, I think, you know, we obviously had Bayley Io earlier, straight after the Rumble, pretty well locked in. It seems like each week that comes by, we're learning, either locking in another match or getting pretty close to locking in another match. For example, Rhea Ripley, if she makes it to WrestleMania with her championship, her opponent's kind of, you know, she's got 5 other women to go through in a chamber match, but she seems to be making herself known. Seth Rollins, again, has a chamber match with a bunch of contenders running after him. There's definitely some favorites in that match that are already setting themselves up. And I think there's the card is taking shape for sure.
Yeah, I kind of something I'd like to see maybe for next week's Raw is maybe a last chance match among the people that didn't win their matches, and maybe Big Bronson Reed gets to win that match, and then he gets to go home and perform in front of his home crowd in a big main event match.
Yeah, Bronson did well. I think it was last year in the Chamber. It did seem like, potentially had a good shot here, as you say, to perform in Australia. When his opponent's Bobby Lashley, maybe less so. But I still believed in him until he was counted 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, well, the thing is that you would have thought he would have won the match because Bobby Lashley and Street Profits are already in a feud outside of that match.
Yeah.
But Bobby Lashley being Bobby Lashley kind of, I think, over-trumped it a little bit. And then I guess we got to talk about the fact that the Pride has a new member.
Yeah, I guess just before we move on to that, I could still see Bobby Lashley be the guy who's taken out, especially since you say he is in a feud, and can't make the Chamber. Then you have that last chance qualifier maybe. We'll have to see how the Chamber qualifiers play out next week when we talk about our Elimination Chamber Perth preview show, which we will have coming for you next week. But yes, Bobby Lashley's little stable did get themselves a female member, which we'd been calling for a while, but it wasn't quite the one we'd been calling for.
No, but it was one that was hinted at some time ago. We just threw it to the side because we wanted something different. But yeah, we got B-Fab in the Pride, which I'm fine with. It gives her something to do, and she can definitely learn her craft under the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, I think this whole stable's been slightly confusing for me, I think. We'd been calling for a heel Street Profits. Bam, we kind of get them for a couple weeks. Now they're going up against Karrion Kross and his crew. I don't know, it feels like they've kind of fallen out of the spotlight a little bit, Yeah. We did see them at the Rumble, but it was an interference spot. We didn't get to see Montez or Dawkins actually, show what they got.
Yeah, and I think that's also a major side effect of one championship.
Yeah.
For the tag team divisions.
Why have we not split it up yet?
I don't know. Maybe that'll be something that'll come after WrestleMania. Which I still think the WrestleMania match will be the Judgment Day versus the Awesome Truth. I think we're I hate to use the word, but I think we're rehashing the storyline from last year with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn going into WrestleMania versus the Usos.
Yeah, I could see it. I don't know. We say it so often, or we throw out these potential match enders. Let's just have a multi-tag team ladder match and just have two teams pull down the titles. One of them gets the Raw half, one of them gets the SmackDown half. Just bada bing, bada boom.
Nah. Let's let the Awesome Truth win their titles, and then Nick Aldis for SmackDown announces that there will be a new title announced for SmackDown, and then the Street Profits can win that, and then you have new titles developed for the Raw titles, and we get rid of the penny belts.
Yeah, I guess you just want the penny belts gone. I feel like that's...
I'm sorry, dime belts, because they're silver.
True. I don't know. I've kind of come to like these rinky-dink little belts. But I will admit that they don't look as cool or have the prestige of a couple of the women's championships or the men's championships. They do look like sort of side toys But it doesn't help that they're always carried around with like all 4 of them together. So it's like I've got the red and the blue one. I don't know. Split them up is my primary goal.
It was a couple of years before they did away with the last time. It was a couple of years before they did away with the multiple belts.
Yeah.
So it is all it is. But yeah, I think both shows need to have a championship to help with their tag team divisions. And I really want to see the Awesome Truth get their due. Because I really liked them 10 years ago when they were teaming together. And I think R-Truth has done so well with this whole thing. He deserves at least something. And a tag title run seems fine for me.
New solution. Stick with the stick with the ladder match. R-Truth pulls the titles down. Confusion over which team he's on. Don't know who technically are the champions.
I'd be fine with that, but I think the confusion for him will be that he thinks he's in the Royal Rumble at first, and tries throwing them out of the ring and thinks he wins it. And then Miz has to tell him, no, it's a ladder match. We gotta go get those titles.
Alrighty, well, we are roughly halfway through the episode this week, so we're going to go into our entrance theme. Josh has selected for us this week none other than Shawn Michaels.
The first Elimination Chamber match winner.
There you go.
I think I'm cute. I know I'm sexy.
And you're back to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and MPR. I'm ready. He's Josh. Where do you want to kick off here? Because I feel like so much of what's happening on Raw and SmackDown is either building to the Chamber or it is building to WrestleMania and sort of skipping over the Chamber. And I feel like that's what it's going to be for the next 5 odd weeks. It's just going to be storylines heating up.
Well, I think we need to talk about the Intercontinental Championship because that is getting red hot.
Yeah, obviously this week on Raw, Jey Uso and the New Day took on Imperium. Jay poking his nose in potentially for that Intercontinental spot. Kofi Kingston had a shot previously. Don't know about Gunther's ability to travel with his current visa, so we might not see him at Chamber, but we sure will see him at WrestleMania.
The thing that has me like a little hesitant about the whole he won't be there because of the visa, it's been, 4 months since the last visa issue? Who's to say Gunther hasn't fixed that issue?
Who knows? Well, he probably knows. I hope he knows.
Yeah. If not, then yeah. We may see Jey Uso versus Gunther at WrestleMania for the Intercontinental Championship. Much to our surprise, because we've been expecting Jimmy Uso versus Jey Uso this whole time. If he can go, then we'll see it at Elimination Chamber. And depending on how that match turns out, we'll determine just exactly what we get with Jimmy and Jay.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I want to see Jimmy win the title and then defend it against Jimmy, and have it be like be this whole story like that Roman's so ticked off at him winning the title that he wants Jimmy to bring it to the bloodline.
Yeah, there's so many possibilities with the Usos at the moment. I don't know how much of this is a hard pivot because of Gunther's probable WrestleMania opponent no longer being in the picture. I think Gunther Jay is a great way to go. It's 100% set up, when someone almost pins the champion and it needs to be stopped, it's that, if this was a title match they could have won kind of moment. So we will probably see main event Jey Uso challenging for that title. As you say, will he get it? You gotta do something with him sooner or later. Gunther can't continue to hold on to the title forever.
He's about to pass the total number of days in one reign, which is weird to say, but yeah, he's only like 20 days away from passing Pedro Morales for the most total days as champion.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing is that with this whole match with the 6-man tag, it was so weird seeing the New Day and one half of the Usos tag teaming together.
Rivals on the same side of the
But it
ring.
also felt right at the same time. Yeah. I'm all for it. Let's go. And this will be Jimmy J's next step towards truly being main event Jay.
Yeah, we gotta go one step at a time. What else do we got? There's so much going on. I guess, do you think that the things such as, Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley and Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre being so telegraphed at the moment, do you think we're going to go through with those, or do you think those are just what's happening right now?
I don't.
Okay.
Well, I think for the men, it is going to be that way.
Mm-hmm.
I think the women, though, I think it could be Liv. I think it could be Liv versus Rhea. I think there is something to the fact that they had her come in second again at the Rumble, and that it was Rhea that made her take her time off. So there is a huge storyline there. And maybe Liv gets a moment at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe WrestleMania will be the moment mania. And you have Liv getting a moment, Drew getting a moment in front of crowd, and then the ultimate moment being Cody Rhodes.
Yeah. I'm mostly of the, it can't be this obvious, is what I'm sitting here saying, They're telegraphing Drew and Becky so much that at least one of them can't be the way we're going, surely. But I don't know. There's been a lot of change up in the last 3 odd weeks due to events in and out of sight of the ring. Maybe, our WrestleMania card's changing up as we speak as well. Hell, maybe Gunther loses the Intercontinental title to Jay, bullies his way into the chamber match, wins, and then you get your Seth Rollins-Gunther match that you want.
Yeah.
Unlikely, but...
Yeah. I still think he could win the world title at maybe SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm.
And then go into the German event
mm-hmm.
with the title.
Bash at Berlin, is it?
I think.
Mm-hmm.
I just know that there's one in Germany slightly after SummerSlam.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see as it builds up and goes through. I do love me some chamber match, number one contendership matches. They kind of went the exact way, that I'd been saying. I do like the Rumble winners picking one of the main events and then the chamber winners getting the other. And they did this, right? Bayley and Cody got first pick and then women's and men's chamber matches for the second picks. Everybody who's going to be in a world title match at the moment is going to have deserved it and earned it. Not making any calls about Dwayne just ending up in a match. And then, we've also got the United States side of things. Logan Paul saying, why would I defend my title here, there? Wants a direct shot into the chamber. Has to go against The Miz next week, or this week, in a couple days, on time of recording, for his shot in the chamber. We've been saying LA Knight, still don't know if that's still our current thought, to take the title off him at WrestleMania. Or Knight's already in the chamber match. Do we set up that feud in there? It's
probably likely. Personally, though, I'd like to see somebody knock Logan Paul out and The Miz steal the spot. But
I'd always love to see somebody knock Logan Paul out, okay? I'm never going to deny that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm guessing Logan Paul will beat Miz on SmackDown. Be in the match and maybe get eliminated by LA Knight.
Mm-hmm.
And then LA Knight and then he throws a tantrum, knocks out LA Knight. That's what gets LA Knight eliminated. they brawl to the back, and then on SmackDown afterwards, Aldis announces Paul versus LA Knight at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you look at Logan Paul, you do have all of the other bits and bobs, Grayson Waller, Austin Theory floating around. There's still so many pins that have not been put in the board when it comes to Elimination Chamber and when it comes to WrestleMania. I would, as you said, expect Bronson Reed to show up at Chamber. I would expect Grayson Waller to show up at Chamber.
I do expect Grayson Waller, but in his talk show. I don't expect him to have a match.
You think we're going to have a talk show segment? All right, just throw it out. Who do you think the guest is going to be? And then if it's announced on SmackDown and you get it right, you look amazing.
I don't know.
You could just do an ego stroke one and just Austin Theory. Possibly.
I'm going to go with, they're going to host Dominic and Kevin Owens.
Okay.
I don't know. It just seems like that'd be the thing they would have him do. Is the Grayson Waller effect.
Yeah. It works well with the live crowd. We've seen it at a few pay-per-views now. So, yeah, it would flow in pretty well. Talking about Bayley Io, we skimmed over the fact that the story has developed. Dakota Kai has seemingly selected her side of the upcoming war.
Maybe. I think that this is going to be one of those things where it's going to be like, it looks that way, and then a couple weeks go by, and then, like, right before WrestleMania, Kai turns on Bayley.
Mm-hmm.
And Bayley has to stand alone against Damage Control.
Yeah, it does feel like, Bayley's whole thing is the underdog coming into this, going up against her former faction. I don't know if she can have people on her side.
Yeah. And when Kai was around before, it definitely looked like she was maybe pulling the strings from the shadows.
Mm-hmm.
She was definitely giggling and stuff with the Japanese girls. So I really think that this is going to end up being a dagger in Bayley's heart. And she's going to get a chair in the back.
Mm-hmm.
Roman Reigns style.
Yeah, I could still see some sort of match at Elimination Chamber, like a Bayley versus Asuka or a Bayley versus Kairi, that sets that up. If you want to use the pay-per-view as your vehicle, we'll have to see.
Yeah. Maybe Dakota Kai's finally been cleared to wrestle, and they'll do a tag team match.
Yeah.
And maybe it'll be Kai and Bayley versus the Kabuki Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
With Io watching, and maybe it'll be for the titles. And just as it looks like Bayley and Dakota are going to win, that's when the trigger occurs, and Dakota turns on Bayley, leaving her laying.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens on the main roster, but just as we have been recording this show, NXT has been airing in the background, and we got ourselves some new NXT Tag Team Champions as Baron Corbin and Bron Breakker, the Wolf Dogs, come out on top.
Not that surprising. I definitely would not put the family over the two main eventers that have been thrown together, so it makes sense. It is something I think we were alluding to anyway, and it's just a question of who takes the titles off of them.
Yeah, Bron Breakker is still playing that, hot free agent card. Both the general managers want him. He's finishing out his storylines on NXT. Looking at the tag team division, I don't really know who's going to step up to Breakker and Corbin. There's a lot of teams around, but at the moment, that does seem like a pretty unstoppable force sitting there in the way.
Yeah. I do think that they will probably only hold them until Stand and Deliver.
Mm-hmm.
So whoever gets developed will be developed pretty quickly. I don't know. Maybe it'll be the let's see here, Blade and his partner.
Yeah, Noffy.
Yeah,
We'll see.
I don't know. It's the first team I thought of.
You do have the Metaphor and a couple others around the way as well that could, even though, wrong alignments or whatever, come on in and step up to Breaker and Corbin. We'll find out next week, as we will also see Lyra Valkyria take on Shotzi for the title next week. Everybody's stepping up to Lyra, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
But that is next week, and we have unfortunately run out of time for this week's episode. It's been great talking to you.
Bye.
You can visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/WrestlingRND up, our Twitter page, twitter.com/WrestlingRND up, our YouTube page, youtube.com/WrestlingRND up, and we will see you next week with our preview for Elimination Chamber Perth.